make a move. Everybody say it, make a move.
Okay, atheists, let's take a deep, cleansing breath. I'm not going to say you're all going to hell. I'm not going to say that at all. You know, there's always the chance you could make it into purgatory. I'm kidding. Come on back. Atheists, there can be no reasonable doubt that your belief system is the one that is best supported by the facts as we understand them today. Now, that should not be an insult. If atheism was a theory, it would be right up there with plate tectonics, evolution, and gravity. So that statement should not be a call to arms, metaphorically speaking, of course. We all have to realize that there's no way that we can be sure. There's a series of discussions between Sam Harris, who is one heck of a debater, by the way, and psychologist Jordan Peterson, where Sam asked Jordan if he believes that the resurrection of Christ actually occurred. And Jordan says that that question would take him a very long time to answer. And Sam says, well, how about almost certainly not? I'm with Sam on that one. But atheists, take note. Even Sam did not say no. Now, he did go on later in the interview, as he usually does, to point out how stupid and backward and irrational religious people are. Which brings us to the topic of our conversation today. When was the last time you convinced anyone of anything by telling them how stupid and backward and irrational they are? I'm going to guess probably about the same number of times that, let's say, Christians have convinced atheists of anything by telling them that they and their children are condemned to eternal damnation. If your goal is just to chat amongst yourselves, then I guess this is fine. But if your goal is to encourage understanding among people who don't agree with you, then you should use language that encourages understanding. Right now, that doesn't seem to be happening very much. Atheists, you're winning the argument. Let's take Christianity again as an example. There are fewer people today who believe in a literal interpretation of the Bible than there have ever been. Now, the percentage that hold those beliefs, at least here in America, is to some of us still alarmingly high. But this is not a sprint, folks. This is a marathon. Tantrums don't help. The condescension and name-calling are very likely hurting, not helping your cause. People use the term straw man argument to talk about when you... All right, okay. To describe when the other side purposely misrepresents your position and then starts criticizing something you never actually said. Now, atheists, you are doing this. If not technically, then you are at least dangerously close when you focus on the fact that there is slavery and eyes being poked out and hands chopped off and other nasty stuff in these ancient religious books. Honestly, if I hear this one more time, I'm going to douse the speaker with holy water.
It burns!
Please stop doing this. Let me just point out the obvious here, okay? Now, if God does exist, it is very likely that he or she is not a complete idiot. These books were written in the language of the time, people. How do you think it would have gone over if they sent their prophets out saying something like this?
And thus shalt be the new law of the land. Thou shalt release thy slaves, uncage thy chickens so they may roam free, join thy wife in couples therapy, negotiate with thy children about their bad behavior, and encourage petty theft, as long as it's not more than $1,000.
This would have actually been a very effective way to have their prophets called home before their time, if you know what I mean. Not sure it would have accomplished much else. Atheists, except that the religious zealots, who by the way are in the vast minority, that they're already gone. There's nothing that you can do to reach them. When you use religion-bashing rhetoric, the only thing that you're doing is driving away the people you can still reach. By all means, when people blow up abortion clinics, machine gun people at mosques, or fly their planes into your skyscrapers, by all means, come down on them like a pile of bricks. I rarely admit to this, but in these cases, some hatred is probably warranted. But let's not make it standard operating procedure. Okay? Non-believer? Well, fine. More than fine. Just give them a break. If your goal really is to influence their opinions, this is the way to do it. Oh, and just to make sure all your bases are covered, you may want to consider being buried in one of these.
You won't say nothing to me. You won't say nothing about